Welcome to our short story on how to keep your violin clean and beautiful. I can't tell you how many grungy violins I've seen in my day. Sweat, dirt, tears. And here with us today is Bill Lee from William Harris Lee Violin Shop in Chicago to tell us how we can accomplish this.
I think one of the most important things that you can do is be diligent about making sure that after every time you've used your instrument that you remove the dust and dirt and sweat. As you can see on this violin that has been played, a covering of rosin dust. So what we're going to do is very lightly take that. You can see how easily it comes off when it's still fresh. If that rosin dust sits on a resin varnish, it will eventually bind with that, and then you'll have to use something very strong, some sort of solvent to remove that. That's something we don't recommend people doing personally, because if any of that solvent gets on the varnish, it could damage the varnish, which would mean a very expensive and problematic restoration.
And what kind of cloth are you using?
Well, what I'm using here is a soft cotton cloth. There are a couple kinds, something like we have here, or there's also the microfiber cloths that are actually very good for the same purpose. Those can be washed and reused many times. So what I recommend doing is, again, wiping down. You have to be very cautious when you're going over the F-holes, because those wings of the F-hole can be very fragile, and you don't want to push. You want to just dust it. And then lightly underneath the bridge, underneath the fingerboard, very lightly. Don't force that cloth at all. And then underneath the strings, you can see here that there's dust on the strings. So we can take this cloth and we can just take it very nicely underneath there. You see, we remove that dust and make sure that the strings are cleaned off. That rosin and sweat and stuff that stays on the strings eventually gums up the winding of the string, and that will make the strings go false faster.
How about the ebony part?
Well, the chin rest especially is one place that gets dirty and sweaty. And again, with either a tissue or a soft cotton cloth, you could use a little bit of, say, we use the method cleaner, which is a non-abrasive and there's no solvent in it. And we can put a little bit of that on the cloth and clean that off and remove all that sweat and dirt. We don't want any liquid really to get onto the varnish at all if we can help it. And especially if it's something that has some kind of a solvent base.
Basically, you're saying that the instrument can look the same after months of playing as it did when it leaves your shop.
Absolutely. We still recommend that you go to see your luthier on a regular basis, and if he sees any problems that he can take care of at that point, or he or she can take care of, we always recommend that too.
And I hope my students are listening very closely to this, because I want to see their pristine instruments from now on.
Me too.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. Thank you.